The Nationals take on the Mets game one. And that's going to be a 12:10 p.m. Eastern first pitch in game one of the doubleheader. Looks like Marcus Stroman's possible on the mound here for the Mets. No official confirmed starter yet for Washington. And following our fifth straight winning day on my Patreon website yesterday, we also improved to 5-0 in our last five $1.99 daily best plays on that Patreon page. Now, if you want to find out which one of these free picks on my YouTube channel that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way you can find out, and that's with a membership on my Patreon website. And of course, if you want to access today's $1.99 daily best play, it's only going to cost you just $1.99. We're also 5-1 in our last six extra daily picks on that Patreon page as well. And if you want to access today's extra daily pick, that's only going to cost you just $2.99. Now, we currently have over 775 members who are signed up and active on that Patreon website. And once again, if you want to see which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally, the link for that site is in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. And no, I do not bet on every single game that is on the board like I do with my YouTube predictions. But anyway, when it comes to the Mets game here, the Mets are currently winning 63% of their contests at Citi Field. Their pitching staff also allows the fewest hits at home in the majors. New York's allowing only 2.9 runs a game in Flushing, Queens. They're taking on a Washington club who's winning only 38% of their road games, and they're also in the bottom 10 in runs allowed away from home. Now, the Washington Nationals have also gone 1-7 straight up in their last 8 ball games. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the New York Mets winning game one outright for some money line cash. Next ball game I have for you, it is going to be Cards versus the Pirates, 12:35 East. The St. Louis Cardinals are minus 135, totals 9. Wade LeBlanc for St. Louis, JT Brubaker for Pittsburgh. Now, Brubaker's just 4-11 with a 4.95 ERA. The last place Pirates have the second fewest wins in the National League, and they're dead last in the majors in scoring on average per game. They're taking on a Cardinals club who won 4 out of their last 5, and they hold their opponents to just 7.5 hits a game. Meanwhile, offensively, the Cardinals are in the top 10 in fewest strikeouts at the plate. Nolan Arenado's hit 22 home runs and knocked in 68. When it comes to the total in this one, the Cards' last 2 road games stayed under the line, 7-3 to the under in their last 10 meetings with Pittsburgh. I'm going to lean toward the St. Louis Cardinals minus 135 in the under 9 runs. Next ball game, Dodgers, Phillies, 1:05 Eastern Standard Time. Philadelphia's minus 120, numbers 10.5. Ranger Suarez for Philadelphia. No confirmed starter yet for Los Angeles. But regardless of who throws out the first pitch for LA, the Red Hot Dodgers have won their last 4 straight ball games, 7-2 straight up in their last 9. LA leads the majors in road walks at the plate, and they're in the top 3 in scoring. Max Muncy's 10th in the majors in OPS. The first baseman has hit 23 home runs along with a 943 OPS. Meanwhile, Justin Turner's hit 20 homers and knocked in 66. They're taking on a Phillies team who's on a 2-game losing streak, with both of those losses coming in this series against Los Angeles. As a matter of fact, the Phillies scored just 2 total runs in those couple of losses. This Phillies lineup is in the bottom 10 in home strikeouts at the plate. When it comes to the number in this one, Philadelphia's last 5 straight contests at Citizens Bank Park stayed under the line. They also went 70% to the under in their last 10 meetings with the Dodgers. I'm going to lean toward the underdog LA Dodgers plus $1 in the under 10.5. Next ball game, it is going to be A's versus the Indians, 1:10 p.m. Eastern start time. The Oakland A's are minus 180, totals 9.5. Chris Bassett for Oakland, Eli Morgan for Cleveland. Now Morgan's just 1-4 with a 6.09 ERA. The Indians have lost 6 out of their last 9, and they now find themselves 2 games below 500. This Cleveland lineup is averaging only 7.6 hits a game. They're taking on a first-place Oakland club who won their last 6 straight, and they also allow only 3.6 runs a game when they travel. Chris Bassett is 11-3 with a 3.19 ERA and a 1.04 WHIP. Now the righty has struck out 147 batters. And when it comes to the total in this one, 4 out of Oakland's last 5 road games stayed under the line. Meanwhile, the Indians are 7-3 to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Oakland A's minus 180 and the under 9.5. Next matchup, Brewers, Cubs, 2:20 p.m. Eastern first pitch. The Milwaukee Brewers are minus $2, totals 9. Brandon Woodruff for Milwaukee, Kyle Hendricks for Chicago. And as bad as Chicago's been, they do tend to win games for Hendricks. He's 13-4 with a 3.68 ERA and 101 strikeouts. The Cubbies have also got themselves a winning record against the number for the entire season as well. They've been pretty good cashing in on the run line. They're taking on a Milwaukee club who averages less than 7.6 hits a game at the plate. This Milwaukee lineup strikes out nearly 10 times a game when they travel. And as good as Brandon Woodruff's been this season, the righty has suffered 6 losses thus far in the year. Now, total-wise, Milwaukee went 70% to the under in their last 10 outings, 3-1 to the under in their last 4 on the road. Meanwhile, Chicago saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with Milwaukee stay under the line. I'm going to lean toward the Chicago Cubs plus 1.5 and the under 9 runs. Next ball game, Tigers, O's, 4:05 East. The Baltimore Orioles are minus 140, totals 10.5. John Means for Baltimore, Matt Manning for Detroit. Despite some lackluster starts out of Manning, the Tigers are on a 2-game winning streak, and they also got the W in 6 out of their last 9. They're taking on a last-place Baltimore team who's 36 games under 500. And they win only 32% of their contests at Camden Yards. The O's give up more runs at home than any other team in the majors. When it comes to the number in this one, 4 out of Baltimore's last 5 outings at Camden Yards got over the total. Meanwhile, the Tigers have gone 34-25 to the over when they bat first. I'm going to lean toward the Detroit Tigers plus 1.5 and the over 10.5 runs. Next matchup, Rays, Bo Sox, 4:10 p.m. East. The Boston Red Sox are minus 130, totals 10.5. Tanner Houck for the Sox. Drew Rasmussen for Tampa Bay. Now, Rasmussen struck out 25 batters in just 22 innings of work. The first place Rays are 24 games over 500, and they're winning 68% of their divisional road games. This Tampa pitching staff is also in the top 3 in fewest walks allowed. They're taking on a Boston club who lost 7 out of their last 10. And they also rank in the bottom 3 in road hits allowed. They're also in the bottom 10 in road runs allowed as well. Tanner Houck has got just 25 2/3 innings of work under his belt this year, and he is 0-2 during that span. Now, when it comes to the scoring in this one, the Sox saw their last 2 at Fenway get over the line. Tampa Bay 67% to the over in all of their road games. I'm going to lean toward the Tampa Bay Rays plus 1.5 and the over 10.5. Next matchup, Rangers, Mariners, 4:10 Eastern start time. The Seattle Mariners are minus $2, totals 8.5. Marco Gonzalez for Seattle, Mike Fultonavich for Texas. Now, Fulty's just 2-10 on the year, 5.77 ERA, and a 1.32 WHIP. Might be time to retire. But anyway, the last place Rangers have gone 1-7 straight up in their last 8, and they have the fewest road wins in the American League. The Rangers are currently winning just 24% of their ball games when they bat first. They're taking on a Seattle club who won 2 out of their last 3 themselves, and they actually play their best baseball on their home field. Seattle's currently 34-24 straight up at T-Mobile Park. Their pitching staff is also in the top 10 in fewest walks allowed. Now, total-wise, Seattle's 8-2 to the under in their last 10 outings. Texas went 60% to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Seattle Mariners, -1.5, and the under 8.5 runs. Next matchup, Reds versus the Braves, 510 East. The Atlanta Braves are -145, totals 10 flat. Kyle Muller for Atlanta, Vlad Gutierrez for Cincinnati. Now, Vladdy's 7-3 on the year for Cincinnati. The Reds pitching staff is fanning nearly 10 batters a game on the road. Meanwhile, hitting-wise, the Reds are currently in the top 5 in scoring. Nick Castellanos, he's 6th in the majors with a .319 batting average, along with 62 RBI. Meanwhile, Joey Votto's hit 25 homers and knocked in 72. Now, they're taking on an Atlanta club who still averages nearly double-digit strikeouts a game, despite their recent success. They also have Kyle Muller on the bump, who's thrown just 34 1/3 innings this year and has a 2-3 record. Now, total-wise, 4 out of Atlanta's last 7 at Truist Park stayed under the line. They also saw 7 out of their last 10 meetings with Cincinnati stay under the total as well. I'm going to lean toward the Cincinnati Reds +1.5 and the under 10 runs. All right, next ball game should be an interesting one. Yankees-Red Sox, 7:15 Eastern Standard Time at the Field of Dreams in Dyerville, Iowa. The Chicago White Sox are -170, totals 9.5. Now, the White Sox are officially the home team, and they're batting second. Lance Lynn's on the mound for Chicago, Andrew Heaney for New York. Now, Heaney struck out 126 batters this season, 7 wins on the year for the lefty. New York's won 7 out of their last 9 ball games, and they're leading the majors in fewest walks allowed per game on the road. This Yankees pitching staff also holds their opponents to just 7.4 hits a game. They're taking on a White Sox club who actually has a losing record against American League opponents away from their home field. So like I said, they are officially the home team, but they're away. They're not a guaranteed rate field today. They're playing in the corn. Chicago's currently on a 2-game losing streak, and they're in the bottom half of the league in strikeouts at the plate. Now, total-wise, Chicago went 60% to the under in their last 10 outings. New York also saw 6 out of their last 10 stay under the line. I'm going to lean toward the New York Yankees +1.5 and the under 9.5 runs. Next contest, Blue Jays Angels, 9:38 Eastern first pitch. The Toronto Blue Jays are -135, totals 8.5. Jose Barrios for Toronto, Shohei Ohtani for Los Angeles. Ohtani's 6-1 with a .293 ERA and 106 strikeouts. The Phenom's also got an impressive 1.09 whip. This Angels pitching staff is in the top 10 in the league in striking batters out. Meanwhile, offensively, they're in the top 5 in hits. David Fletcher's 10th in the majors with a .305 batting average. LA's taking on a Toronto club who's in the bottom 5 in road walks per game at the plate. When it comes to the number in this one, Toronto went 60% to the over in their last 10 outings. Meanwhile, the Angels saw 66% of their home games this year get over the line. I'm going to lean toward the LA Angels +1.5 and the over 8.5 runs. Next matchup, Padres Diamondbacks, 9:40 Eastern start time. San Diego Padres are -230, totals 9. Yu Darvish for San Diego, Taylor Widener for Arizona. Now, Widener's got just 1 win on the season, .489 ERA for the pitcher. The D-backs have the worst record in baseball, and they allow more runs per contest than any other team. They're taking on a Padres club who won 4 out of their last 5 ball games, and they allow just 3.9 runs per contest. Yu Darvish has 7 wins on the year, along with a .343 ERA. The righties fanned 154 batters and has a .99 whip. When it comes to the number in this one, 8 out of San Diego's last 10 ball games got over the line. Arizona's 70% to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the San Diego Padres -1.5 and the over 9 runs. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup. It is going to be Rockies versus the Giants, 9:45 East. The San Francisco Giants are minus 195, total 7.5. Logan Webb for San Francisco, German Marquez for Colorado. And as good as Marquez has been, the Rockies still have the fewest road wins in all of baseball. The Rockies also scored the fewest road runs in the majors as well. They're being held to only 6.9 hits a game when they bat first. They're taking on a first-place Giants club who wins 69% of their ball games at Oracle Park. They're also leading the Bigs in fewest walks allowed per 9. They're holding their opponents to only 3.7 runs a game. Logan Webb has a 3.19 ERA and a 1.16 whip. When it comes to the total in this one, 2 out of San Francisco's last 3 home games got over the number. Colorado's 60% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the San Francisco Giants minus 1.5 and the over 7.5 runs. Over that, guys, now we're going to jump into our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my Patreon website, where we are coming off our 5th straight winning day of premium picks on that website. I like the New York Mets winning Game 1 outright for some money line cash. St. Louis minus 135 under 9. LA Dodgers plus $1 under 10.5. Oakland minus $1.80 under 9.5 runs. Chicago Cubs plus 1.5 under 9. Detroit Tigers minus 1.5 over 10.5. I like the Tampa Bay Rays plus 1.5 over 10.5. Seattle Mariners minus 1.5 under 8.5 runs. Cincinnati plus 1.5 under 10. New York Yankees plus 1.5 under 9.5 runs at the Field of Dreams. LA Angels plus 1.5 over 8.5. San Diego minus 1.5 over 9 runs. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 5-0 in our last 5 $1.99 daily best plays on my Patreon website. We're also 5-1 in our last 6 extra daily picks on that Patreon page as well. I like the San Francisco Giants minus 1.5 and the over 7.5 runs. Of that, guys, now it's time for our shout out of the day. And today's shout out goes to my dad, who it's his birthday today. So happy birthday. I love you. And don't forget to check your mailbox. You'll certainly want to do that today. So happy birthday to my dad. And hopefully you have a great day. I know you're watching. So I hope you enjoy your day. And like I said, don't forget to check your mailbox. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. Now, if you guys do end up getting a package here today, just keep in mind, Patreon's going to bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today, you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of August. I always tell folks the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Thursday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.